Hello, I want to know, do you use food to get you through the day or to deal with the day, to use it as a reward for having a rough day? Well, this video was prompted because I had a day like that last week where I didn't get sleep. My baby was up in the night and I just woke up tired and just like wanting all the junk food, right? Like when you're fatigued or experiencing any sort of emotion, it's pretty common for you to seek the food, right? And I even polled my audience and they said the exact same thing. I turned to the food all day long. So I want to help you today figure out how to deal with hard days that are stressful, fatigued, just any hard day that you want to turn to food. Let's figure out how to not turn to food and deal with the day and come out on top. So I want to talk a little bit about your brain and I don't want to be too super scientific, but it's true. Our brains, when we are experiencing certain emotions, they do crave kind of the junk food, and there's some physiology behind that, but essentially they're craving that energy, they're craving the ability to like function normal again. And especially with fatigue, if you experience fatigue, our bodies are seeking for energy. And what's our source of energy? Food, right? I mean, sleeping is one of them, but if you're not sleeping, then you're turning to food. And so if you're feeling this way, I want you to know that that's normal, okay? This is totally normal to experience these emotions. And yay, right? You don't feel like, oh, what's wrong with me? It's normal because our brain is trying to get our body's needs met. And so we tend to want to turn to the food. And so that's good, right? I mean, it's a defense mechanism. It's the ability to help us keep up energy, keep going, and all of that stuff. But we tend to want the junk food. I don't like the word junk food, but you know what I mean. Like the food that doesn't really give us the energy, the food that doesn't satisfy, it kind of just like helps, like it's an emotional eating on a different level, right? It just helps kind of like numb us from the day. If you're really tired, it's really hard to keep going for the day. And so it's just like, well, I might as well keep eating. So I have a few tips today that I want to share to help you get through this day. If you're experiencing a hard day or emotions, or you're using food to deal with chronic emotions, chronic stress, chronic fatigue, any of that, this is what today is for. So I have 7 tips for you today. They're simple and quick, but I want to go through them with you. So the first thing is slow it down. When you are having a stressful day, a tired day, an angry day, whatever it is, slow it down, okay? Don't try to speed things up. Just take a minute to know that this day needs to be a little bit slower in whatever way that looks for you. It could be that you can't slow down at work or you can't slow down with your kids, but can you take on less responsibility that day? That's going to help you with number 2, which is meeting your needs in the best way possible. If you can take a nap, awesome. If you can lay down, awesome. If you can do a 5-minute meditation because you're feeling stressed, or you can go to the gym for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. If you can find a way to meet that need, that emotional need, so if you're stressed, you need to find a way to de-stress. If you're tired, you need to find a way to not be as tired. So finding that opposite emotion from what you're experiencing is really going to help. So try your best. The first thing to do is, how can I meet my needs today? So when I was really tired and exhausted, I thought, okay, today just needs to be a little bit slower day. I don't need to get so many brain power things done, which is what I normally need to do. I need to be here and working and all that stuff. But that day was just, let's just kind of take it slow and easier. And if I can lay down during the day, great. If I can get a nap, great. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. Okay, number 3, eat food that satisfies physically and emotionally. Okay, so I might be a little bit different in this area. On days that I struggle with this, I want to eat a little bit heartier meals. I want to feel satisfied and fuller. I want like my meals to really like just satisfy me, because we tend to want to binge. We want to eat and eat and eat and eat. And so you want to make your meals the best bang for your buck, basically. And so first, find a meal that satisfies you physically. What is going to make your body have the most energy, feel the best, physically, all of that. and then pair it or combine it, create a meal that also satisfies you emotionally. What are you feeling? Are you feeling hearty? Like the other day when I was feeling this way, I had soup for lunch because I wanted something warm, and like, what is gonna satisfy that emotion? It was warm and like comforting, right? And so that's a really great way to look at food in that day, is how can I satisfy my needs physically, and how can I also satisfy them emotionally? It's okay to eat to help with the emotion. It's not okay to use food to deal with the emotion. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, number 4. This is also a different one that you might not find anywhere else. It's okay to indulge a bit. On these days, like I said, your brain is telling your body that you want more food to get you energy, to get you moving, whatever it is. Your brain, there are chemical, like it is happening in your brain. It's like, I need food. And so we're just trying to balance that and work with it, right? We're trying to go with the flow of that. And so it's okay. The other day I just was like, I need a little bag of M&Ms from the Halloween treat bucket. And it was great and it satisfied me. And so if you have those moments, make sure that when you are indulging during the day, or you have one time that you indulge, we don't want to overdo it, but when you do, make sure that you sit down and enjoy it, okay? So you experience the moment. You don't just grab it just because it's there, but you're like, okay, I want to eat a little bit more today or whatever. I'm going to sit down and enjoy it. So I sat down and I enjoyed my M&Ms, and it satisfied my needs, and it was great. And that's okay. Like, that's okay to have those days where you might eat a little bit more. We're not experiencing guilt. We're not doing any of that stuff. We're just saying this is a day that's kind of hard. Remember, we don't want to be chronically doing this every single day. And so that goes back to, how do I meet my needs on a daily basis? Okay. Okay, next, number 5. Get yourself away from the food, okay? It is sitting there when you're in an emotional state that's a little bit fragile. Just know that that's normal. Like, that's okay. It's okay to feel fragile around food. And so what you need to do is use tools to help you deal with the food and deal with those emotions, and knowing that you're in a fragile state. And one of the things that really helps is just to kind of step away from the food. Do something else. Get out of the house, go somewhere, or just don't be in the kitchen hanging out, okay? So find a way. If it's out of sight, it typically can help be out of mind. And it's not that you're afraid of it, it's not that you're avoiding it, it's just that if it's not there, it's not as much of a temptation. Okay, number 6, this is an easy one. Drink tons of water. When you're dehydrated, this is another brain thing, okay? When you're dehydrated, your body essentially you want to fulfill that dehydration need. And if you're not fulfilling it with water, your body is fulfilling it with food. So you're like, oh, I'm thirsty. Maybe you don't think that, but your brain is telling you I'm thirsty, and you're eating a bunch of food. Okay? So drink tons of water on these days. I don't care if you want to flavor it or whatever, but just know that staying hydrated is going to help from that binging and like going and getting more and more food. And then lastly, number 7, use your brain before you use your body. And let me give you an example. So that whole day I was kind of working through all these things. I was really tired still. About 3-4 o'clock I was extra tired, and I went and made some snacks, and I kind of like ate more than I should have, and I wasn't really, like, it didn't make me feel all that great. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. That was my body just like going like that knee-jerk reaction, that gut reaction. And so that night we went to dinner as a family. It was like a weekend night, and we went to the grocery store because we needed milk after, and I was like, treat, let's go get a treat. Like, that's my initial reaction. And it was interesting because that's like an instant thought. Like, it's just a natural reaction for me. It's like, treat, let's go get a treat. And so instead, I just took a minute in the grocery store and I just said, wait a minute. Do I need a treat? Do I want a treat? Like, do I truly want one? I'm not telling myself I can't have one, but I want to sit down and say, okay, do I truly want one? And I had that moment of, I'm actually okay. Like, I had a couple throughout the day. I'm okay. I don't need this tonight. And I can just lay on the couch and relax for the rest of the evening, and I can go to bed early, and I don't need the treat. And so it was just really, really nice to say that out loud. And so use your brain before you use your body. Your body's instinct is to just go for something. But take 2 minutes, just step back and say, what do I really want in this moment? And if it is a treat, that's okay. We're not experiencing guilt or anything like that. But I think you might be surprised that as you practice it, you might learn some things about what your body and your brain really needs. So hopefully that's helpful when you have a really hard day with food and stress and emotions and you just want to use that food to get you through the day. Here are some other tips that you can help to get you through the day without using food.